The most famous story about Carlos Hathcock, the one where he shoots an enemy sniper through his own scope, is usually told as a tale of incredible marksmanship. But the physics of that shot are almost impossible. A bullet striking glass at that angle doesn't usually fly straight, it fragments. The real story isn't that he aimed for the glint and pulled the trigger, it's that he understood something more fundamental. The light was in his enemy's eyes and he had exactly 1 second to fire before that scope found his own chest. Carlos Hathcock didn't just kill people, he processed terrain, wind, light, and human behavior faster than anyone before him. And before he ever fired a shot in anger, he had already won the Wimbledon Cup, the Super Bowl of competitive shooting, proving that the deadliest weapon in Vietnam was forged not in combat, but on a peaceful rifle range in Ohio. Born in 1942 in rural Arkansas, Hathcock grew up poor. He hunted not for sport, but to put food on the table, using his father's old Mauser brought back from World War II. On his 17th birthday, he did what he always knew he would. He joined the Marine Corps. He married Jo just 3 years later, on the Marine Corps birthday, November 10th. By 1965, he was the best shooter in the Marine Corps, winning the prestigious Wimbledon Cup. He was a natural, but, he was also an obsessive student of wind and trajectory. He arrived in Vietnam in 1966 as a military policeman, but Captain Edward Land, who was building a sniper platoon, recognized his talent immediately. Hathcock was assigned to Hill 55, south of Da Nang. This was the bad real estate, the doorstep of enemy infiltration routes. He started wearing a white feather in his bush hat. It wasn't arrogance, or at least not only arrogance, it was a psychological weapon. He wanted them to know he was there. The Viet Cong and NVA put a bounty on him. It started at $30, like most snipers. Eventually, it reached $30,000. That's inflation driven by pure frustration. His most grueling mission was a volunteer job: kill a North Vietnamese general operating near the Laotian border. The camp was heavily guarded, and the approach was a flat, open field. Hathcock didn't crawl on his belly. Instead, he rolled onto his side and, wormed forward, using his hip and shoulder to create a trail so thin it looked just like an animal path. He covered 900 yards over 4 days and 3 nights. At one point he froze for hours because a bamboo viper slithered across his neck and stopped, tasting his ear. He didn't move, he didn't breathe deeply, he just waited for the snake to leave. On the 4th morning, the general stepped onto his porch and yawned. His aide stepped in front of him for a moment. When he moved, Hathcock fired from 700 yards. The general dropped. The entire camp erupted, searching for him. But he had already planned his escape route. He crawled back the same way he came, taking 3 days to return to friendly lines. There was also the woman they called Apache. She led a squad that tortured captured Marines within earshot of Hill 55. Hathcock made it personal. He found her by accident. He was switching rifles with his spotter when a patrol stopped in a clearing. One figure squatted to relieve herself. That's when he knew it was her. He fired, then he fired again because, as he later put it, he wanted to be sure. He called it the best shot he ever made, not because of the distance, but because of the justice. But the sniper duel is the one everyone asks about. The NVA sent their best, a man known as the Cobra, to hunt Whitefeather. The Cobra killed a Marine gunny right outside Hathcock's hooch. Hathcock and his spotter John Burke tracked him for days. They made a mistake stepping over a fallen tree. The Cobra fired. The bullet hit Burke's canteen, soaking his leg. They both thought he was hit. So, they maneuvered through the jungle, and after a while, the roles actually reversed. Hathcock ended up in the Cobra's old position, and the Cobra ended up in his. The sun was now behind Hathcock. He saw a glint of light. Yeah, it was the reflection off the cobra's scope. He aimed right at that glint and fired. When he reached the body, he saw the bullet had passed clean through the scope and into the cobra's eye. Hathcock later joked, with that dry wit of his, that it probably didn't do the man's eyesight any good. In 1969, his war ended on Highway 1. An Amtrak he was riding in hit a landmine. He pulled 7 Marines from the burning vehicle, suffering third-degree burns over 40% of his body. He was awarded the Silver Star. He spent a year recovering. He could no longer shoot competitively. His hands were just too scarred. But the Corps gave him a new mission: build a school. Hathcock helped establish the Marine Corps Scout Sniper School at Quantico. He taught a generation of shooters not just how to pull a trigger, but how to get in the bubble, a state of absolute concentration where the world really narrows to the space between the shooter and the target. A friend once showed him a passage from Hemingway. Certainly there is no hunting like the hunting of man, and those who have hunted armed men long enough and never really care for anything else thereafter. Hathcock copied it down. He said the writer got it right. But he was quick to clarify. It was the hunt he loved, not the killing. He struggled with depression after leaving the Corps, and only found peace in shark fishing, a different kind of patient stalking. He passed away in 1999 from complications of multiple sclerosis. The NVA tried to kill him for years and failed. A disease finished the job. Every Marine sniper today walks in his shadow. They learn his techniques, his patience, and his philosophy. He proved that the best weapon isn't the rifle, but the mind behind it. Subscribe to War Machiner and share this if you value history that goes deeper.